Hello, Stitchy friends. How is everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. My name is Andrew, this is my dog Winston, and this is The Runner Stitcher, my channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey, but also a little bit about running as well, and also what's kind of going on with my life. So if you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I really hope you enjoy sharing in this hobby and what I've got to share with you today. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and taking the time to spend with me today. You really are the reason for this channel. I think when I first originally started this channel, I thought it was about me and me sharing my cross stitch. And what I've learned over the last 2 years, because it is almost 2 years that I've been doing Flosstube, is this channel is not about me. This channel is about the community that we all have and our love of this amazing hobby where we can create beautiful things. And I think that's really awesome. So thank you so much for coming back and spending a little bit of time with me today. I wanted to start off just by saying a huge thank you. I feel like every video I say this, but this week in particularly, thank you so much for all of your kind comments and words of wisdom and positive vibes and energy that you sent me last week on the video through your comments and through your emails. It meant so much to me. This community has really seen me through a lot these past couple months, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it and to have friendships with all of you. And I'm so grateful for the kindness and the positive support that you all showed with me after I announced that I had been let go from my job last Monday. I definitely was still in shock on Tuesday, and I think honestly, the Saga story helped kind of set me back on the right path, and some other events throughout the week too. And I really do feel like I'm in a positive space, not really knowing what's next, but still being open to all the possibilities of what is to come. And a lot of what helped me get there were your comments last week. So thank you so much for just all the positivity that came my way. I know a lot of people go through experiences like this, and layoffs happen these days, unfortunately, and we can get through this. And some of you shared your stories of experiences you had in the past and how it moved you on in your life to better things, and that was really encouraging for me too. I know there are good things in store for me. I just have to kind of figure out what's next. But I really can't say thank you enough. And along with that, I want to say a special thank you to those of you who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link last week. I was blown away by the support and by the love that you showed. That was so kind and definitely not expected or necessary, but thank you so much. So I'm going to just list off the people who took advantage of that and made a little coffee donation for me. Jason, Jen, Angel, Helen, Patty, KS Littleton, Pamela, we had an anonymous person, Tammy, Karen, Turtle for Cats, Sadie, Pirate, Janice, and Susan. Thank you so much. All of your gifts were really kind, and the messages that you had along with them. So I just want you to know I really appreciate that and can't say thank you enough. I honestly was blown away by the support and that I was shown last week. I shared what happened with being laid off from my job just because it was fresh on my mind, and I wanted to just be honest. And I think sometimes when you have a channel like this, maybe you put your best foot forward, or things always look like they're working out great for you, but there's real life happening too. And I wanted to share that, and also excited to share with you the journey of where I'll end up next, and you guys will get to kind of come along on that and see what's next for me. So all of that to say, I'm really grateful for being here and to be a part of this community. I'm so grateful for a hobby that allows us to sort of meditate and clear our minds and create beautiful things, and I'm just so grateful. I think that's all of the housekeeping things I wanted to say this week, so let's just jump right into the stitching. So in the past week, I was able to add in 2,326 stitches. Now, that is actually kind of a lower week for me. And I think some of the reason for that is, last Tuesday, I did not stitch at all. After I made the video, I had some other things going on, and I just didn't stitch. I think I was still processing everything that happened on Monday, and that was okay. And throughout the week, the week was actually busier than I expected. There's a lot of things involved with tying up loose ends at your previous job, just a lot of logistics that were happening this week, and also starting to figure out what's next. So I don't know what my stitching count will look like over the next several weeks or months as I sort of navigate and pivot into a new pathway, but that's okay. I'm happy to have the stitching, and I'm happy to get to do it when I can. And even if that's not as much as before, that's totally fine. There's a lot of other things going on in my life right now. But still, 2,300 stitches. I'm really happy with that progress this week, and I hope you'll enjoy seeing the updates. So let's go ahead and get started with temperature stitching. So I have 3 categories for my temperature stitching, and I've assigned each category digits between 0 and 9 randomly, and I look at the forecasted temperature for each day. Whatever the high temperature is, I take the second digit, and whatever project is assigned to that digit, I stitch 100 stitches on it. There's many ways you can do temperature stitching. I found this to be a nice way where I can work on 3 different projects throughout the week. The stitch count can be smaller, so it seems more manageable to get done. Obviously, there's only 700 stitches in a week, but feels manageable, still feels like I'm getting progress on those projects, and I can rotate through them. So it's really been working for me, but you can kind of make it however you want for your own temperature stitching as well. But the first project I worked on was Blitzen. This is from Nora Corbett. Sorry for the zipper. And here is what Blitzen is going to look like. This is the reindeer from the Christmas Eve Couriers series from Nora Corbett. That's the one I'm currently working on. And I will go ahead and put a video in here of where I was when I started. All right, here's my starting point for Blitzen for the week. As you might notice, I've already started doing some of the backstitching before I remembered to take this video. So I will continue backstitching all of the antlers there, and then we'll jump down into the deer. So you will see it now. Blitzen was called for 4 days. I managed to put in 408 stitches, putting me at 28.42% of the piece, approximately. And here is where I got to. So you can see I got a lot done. 400 stitches really went far on Blitzen this week. Basically, I finished all of the antlers, including all of that back stitching that goes around the antlers there. That is all done. Then I came down here and finished Blitzen's head and face. I did the back stitching around his nose and eyes. And then I came down here and started this beautiful wreath that is around Blitzen's neck here. And that wreath has a lot of colors. I think there are 6 different greens and reds in that wreath, and the blending is just beautiful. There's also some Kreinik in there. I'm not sure how well that's coming across with the sparkles, but there is some Kreinik in there also. And this whole wreath I was doing when I was stitching with some friends on a Zoom call on Friday night, and it made the confetti and the color changing much more enjoyable to be doing that when I was with a bunch of friends on that Zoom. So that was a good time, and now I'll always remember that as I pull this piece out. I also did a little bit here of the reins that go on either side here. So those are some beautiful colors there. But yeah, this is really coming along. So I enjoyed this a lot, especially as we're getting closer to the Christmas holiday. This was a lot of fun to get back out. And we'll keep working on it for temperature stitching, and then probably also keep pulling it out in December. This is stitched on a 28 count colonial blue. This is by Zweigart, and I'm using all the called for DMC and Kreinik. The only thing I'm switching out a little bit will be the beads for some Delica beads. And yeah, I think that's it. Stitching 2/2 with mostly the DMC. So that is Blitzen. The next temperature stitching piece that I worked on is Treasury of Compassion. This is from Teresa Kogut. Here's what this looks like. It's this beautiful piece with this really meaningful prayer in the center of it. And I've been stitching starting on the upper left corner. And I'll pop a video in here of where I was when I started the week. And this was only called for 1 day, so I managed to put in 112 stitches, which will not look that different from where you saw it last time. But what I worked on is this section up here. So I pulled these leaves and this vine across a little bit over here. And then I started the next motif here, which is why I've got the dangling thread, because that's ready to go for the next time. But that is my progress on Treasury of Compassion. This is a really, really fun one, and honestly kind of sad it only got pulled out for one day because I really do enjoy working on this. This is a 36 count linen, unknown dyer, unknown fabric color. I just know that it's 36 count, but it's actually really enjoyable to stitch on. So I kind of wish I knew what it was because I probably would buy more. I also really like this color. It's a very, very nice neutral kind of tannish color that goes well with this floss. I'm using the called for Valdani floss, which is a variegated called Harvest. Ooh, Harvest Autumn, maybe? Harvest something? Golden Harvest? Yeah, it's whatever the called for is for this piece. And yeah, really enjoying this. So again, when I pull this out, it's always nice to see that word mercy and just remind myself of that word and to show myself mercy and show other people mercy. So that's kind of a nice reminder, and I'll get more into the words as I keep going. But yeah, this was really fun, and we'll keep coming out for temperature stitching. The next piece I've got for you is Autumn is as Joyful. This is the Autumn Quaker from Lila Studio. Here's what this is going to look like in the end. I absolutely love these Quakers from Lila Studio. They are so much fun to work on. I love the little motifs, so creative, and the color choices are just beautiful. So always really enjoy working on this. I will put a video in here where I was when I started the week. All right, here's my starting point for Autumn is as Joyful this week. There is another butterfly down here, and so that is what I'm gonna work on. You will see it now. And this was called for 200 stitches. I was able to put in 294, so I went a little above and beyond, and that's because I wanted to finish the motif I was working on. But in total, I'm at 27.2% on this piece, and I did take it out of the hoop so you could see kind of everything that I've got done. Obviously, I started up here in the upper left corner and worked my way about, I think I'm almost at the center, or just past the center over here with these squirrels starting on top of the big acorn. But yeah, I love this piece so much. This is stitched on a 40 count Winter's Brew by R&R Reproductions, and I'm using the Vicky Clayton Silk Pack conversion. So all of the called for silks that are in the conversion on Vicky Clayton's website, hand-dyed fibers, that's what I'm using. And so what did I do this time for 400 stitches? Well, the first thing I did was add in this cute little butterfly right here. This butterfly and this butterfly, I absolutely love them. Are they not just darling? They're so cute. And I love that they're in kind of the fall colors. Then I came over here and worked on this little Halloween hat. I figured I might as well get that in now while it's close to Halloween. I think that's kind of the only Halloween part in this whole Autumn Quaker. And I think it's cool she threw just a little bit of Halloween in there because, you know, Halloween is in the fall, so it's part of it, even though she has her very own Halloween Quaker, which I'm also working on. But yeah, so those are the two motifs I did, and that was 294 stitches. And yeah, what I actually realized is if I come over here, and the reason I did this hat is because if I come over here, there is a clear path down to the turkey. So I think I am actually going to try to work my way to the turkey and be stitching that around the Thanksgiving time, which will be kind of fun. So yeah, this is Autumn is as Joyful, and again, this will keep coming out for temperature stitching. It's got at least a couple more weeks in it, so we'll talk about that in plans. And next up, we've got Saga. This is from Long Dog Samplers. This is what this piece is going to look like. Absolutely amazing. This is a really, really big piece. I think there's about 100,000 stitches in this piece, and yeah, I've been working my way through it. So I will put a video in here of where I was when I started last week. Here is my starting point for Saga for the week. I'm going to continue working on that camel. So hopefully you'll see a completed arch now. And I was able to add in 552 stitches for the week, putting me at 50.86%. So here is where Saga is at now. I absolutely love this piece. I never get tired of showing it. I hope you don't get tired of seeing it. But yeah, this is where I'm at now. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using Silks for You PR207 and doing one strand of silk over 2 linen threads. So let's go back to the story that we had last week, and that's what I was working on. So I finished this very last animal right here with the hat on from the story last week, and I'm so glad that you all enjoyed that story. Stitching on Saga this week felt really different. It felt like this piece has been through a lot with me, and that was really cool. And as I was stitching, I was remembering the lesson from the story to sort of take life as it comes. And you know, you can't change your path. This is your allotted path, and you have to kind of go with it. And we can do that in a joyful, positive way. So I now have finished that entire arch. So now I have 3 rows of arches fully completed. Can you believe that? It's hard to believe. There are 2 more rows of arches to go, and they get bigger as they go down. So this top row of arches is the smallest, and they get larger as they go down. But I've only got 2 more rows left. That is exciting, even though that is still 50%. So then once I finished the arch that I was working on, I came over here, and underneath this row of arches, there is this tiny border that goes all the way across. And where the top of each arch hits, there's a little bit of a design in the middle there. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stitch that border all the way across, just so I have kind of a basis of where I'm going with the future arches. So that will probably be, I don't even know if I'll finish that with 500 stitches, but so next week might be a little boring. You might just see this tiny little couple stitch border going all the way across, but I think that's what I want to do next to get ready for the next row of arches. So that is what I'll work on this coming week with Saga. The next piece I worked on was the Marvelous Circus. This is Charted from Heaven and Earth Designs, designed by Aimee Stewart, and this beautiful kind of circus, full coverage, gigantic piece. You know, I love my large pieces. I am up in the very top left corner working on this first trapeze artist here. And yeah, that's been a lot of fun. A lot of these reds and yellows as I work in the diagonal method, but we're getting closer and closer to the edge of that curtain, so I'm gonna try to keep going. But I will pop a video in here where I was at the beginning of the week. Okay, here's my starting point for Marvelous Circus for the week. I am still enjoying this, so it's coming out. We'll see if I can get down to his head or not. You will see it now. This week I was able to add in 511 stitches, putting me at 0.69%. In the back of my mind, I kind of have this thinking of like, can I get to 1% this year? You know, I barely worked on this at all this year until the last month or so. So if I could get myself to 1%, I feel like that would be a good goal. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not, especially with Christmas stitching coming up, but it's in the back of my mind, so we'll see. But 511 stitches, here is where I am this week. So as you can see, I have a big portion of this person completed now. So I think I had this diagonal maybe like halfway through, and I've now finished the diagonal all the way through his head, and I finished it all the way down to the bottom. So I will zoom in here a little bit so you can see that is the stitching. Again, apologies for how messy it all looks with my ending threads and my parked threads and everything, but it gives you a really nice view of the piece as I work in the diagonal. And I really kind of like the detail. As you pull it back, you can really see the curtain behind him. You can really see the trapeze artist hanging from the bar there, and especially some of this detail coming through in the curtain. I really like that as well. So yeah, this was really fun. Again, I think we've got maybe about 2 or 3 more diagonals to go still in these reds of the curtain. And of course, as we work down here, we'll get his other hand in on this side. So that will be exciting. And yeah, that is my progress. This is stitched on a 28 count easy grid Lugana, and I'm using all the called for DMC, 1 strand, full cross over 1. And yeah, really enjoying it despite all the confetti. It's a very slow go, so 511 stitches feels like a lot. It took a lot of time, especially as we got into the colors of his face and head here. You know, to get that amount of detail where you can sort of see where his eyes and mouth would be, there are so many color changes in that tiny little space, and that took a while to get through. Even this little medallion that is hanging from his chest here at the very top of his shirt, that little medallion, that had a lot of different color changes in too. But again, yeah, I really like how this looks in the end, and I'm still enjoying it. So I'll probably keep pulling it out as long as it's on my stand and as long as I'm still happy doing it. But that is Marvelous Circus. And the final piece I pulled out this week, once I got to a good stopping point on Marvelous Circus, I had completely finished that diagonal. I thought, well, this is a good place for me to stop and show it on the video before I start on the next one. So then I picked up a new I picked up a different project that I haven't worked on in quite a while, but this is Elizabeth Masterton, a Scottish sampler, and this is from the Scarlet letter. I almost forgot. Here is what this is going to look like in the end. Again, I started in the top left up here. So I'm just in this kind of corner, but yeah, I just was drawn to pull this back out for some reason. I was kind of missing it. so I did. I will put a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here is my starting point for Elizabeth Masterton. And I think I'm just gonna keep working across this row of initials. So you will see it now. And I was able to add in 449 stitches, which actually was probably a little bit more than that, and I'll show you why here in a second. But here is where I was able to get to. It's looking so good. I absolutely love it now that I'm getting more of these colors in here. I really, really enjoy that. This is stitched on a 40 counts. Ooh, I forget what the fabric is called from Fox and Rabbit. I'll run it across the bottom of the screen here because I can't remember the name. But it's a 40 count from Fox and Rabbit. And I'm using the called for Aversois silks. And yeah, here is my progress. So as you can see here, I completed this full first flower motif here. I started just at the very top of this next one over here. And one of the main things I did was add, so I think I had these first two initials completed, and I added the next two hearts and this final initial, or this next initial here, JM. And I also added the border underneath of that. Now all of those initials and this little border right here underneath, they're all four-sided stitches. And they take a little bit longer, but they look absolutely beautiful when you see them in person. I really like those stitches. And then I also kind of brought this next border over here. So this is the first row of flower pots and flowers that will go in. And I'll keep working on that. I did work a little bit more in the green, brought some of these green leaves down here a little bit, and also this single back stitch border that goes running down the side here. I carried that down through, but yeah, really had fun with this one. I really love the colors. The more colors I get in here from the silk pack is the more I enjoy it. I really, really like this light yellow right here of this heart, which is also the top of this flower right here. And these flowers, this sort of like pinkish reddish color is really beautiful. So yeah, I don't know what called me back to the sampler, but I wanted to pull it out. And I'm really happy I did, because the more progress I make on this, the more beautiful I think it is and looks, and gets me even more excited to continue pulling it out. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. That's Elizabeth Masterton. And that's all the stitching I've got for you this week. So I know a little bit of a lighter week for me. We'll see how the weeks go. Suddenly, being unemployed and not having to go to work, I thought I'd have all the time in the world to stitch, and suddenly things just keep filling up my days. This coming week, I know there'll be one day where I probably will get no stitches in, and that is Thursday. That's because I am going to see the new Wicked movie. If you watched my channel last year, you know that I really, really loved the first Wicked movie, the part one that came out, and I think I saw it multiple times in the theaters. And so I knew I had to go see this one in the theaters, and I decided I was going to take the day and go see the double feature. So I am starting at 11 a.m. in the morning on Thursday, going to see the first Wicked movie followed by the new one, and I'm super, super excited. But both are long movies, so I know it will take up the majority of the day, and I probably won't get much stitching time in. But it just seems like things like that have been happening, and the time I thought I would have for stitching hasn't been as much, which is totally fine. The nice thing is it's there for me when I need it. And in the evenings, when I just need to sort of kind of meditate and zone out a bit and just do something that I really enjoy, that's when stitching is there for me, and I love that. So as far as plans go, I am going to try to keep up with temperature stitching, so I will put a picture up here of what the new chart looks like. This week, only 2 projects were called. So we've got 5 days for Autumn is Joyful, and that will get 500 stitches. That will also get it very close to the completing its category, Witch Whip. So there will only be 1 day left for that to be called. So that means next week we will probably have a new drawing for which whip for you to vote on, which is exciting. The other 2 days were Treasury of Compassion, so I'll put 200 more stitches into that project and we'll keep that one moving right along. And as far as other plans go, I'm just going to stitch on what I want. That seems to be working best for me right now, and I'm not going to worry about the whip goals that I've got lined up. I'm just going to continue stitching what I love and what I'm enjoying. So temperature stitching will be my main goal. Of course, Saga as well. I will keep pulling that out for the weekly stitches that I need to get that done in 4 years. So those will be my plans. Now I have some exciting things to share with you that was Stitchy kindness. Some of these I received in the last week. Some of them were from a couple weeks ago that I've just been forgetting to share on the channel. But I do want to just say thank you for the Stitchy kindness. This all means so much to me. The first one came from my friend Liz, and Liz also knows how much I enjoy the Wicked movie. And so she sent me this tin. I think this is from Dunkin' Donuts, Munchkins. And look how beautiful this tin is. I'm definitely going to use this to put some stitching supplies in here, and this was just really fun. There's a really cute sticker in here as well that came with the tin, which I love. And so yeah, this will be a new stitching case for me to put all my little supplies and trinkets in. But Liz, thank you so much for this tin. I really appreciate it. She also sent along with that a pattern from a magazine, and this one is called Sword and Shield. Look how fabulous she is. I might have to stitch her someday. That owl in the quarter, Jen's fiber web. I know she loves owls. There's an owl for you if you want to stitch this. But yeah, that's really cool. So Liz, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. The next thing that came in the mail was from my friend Carol, and Carol sent this lovely card. Merry Christmas. She's way ahead of the game and already sending out Christmas presents. But this was a beautiful card, and she had a lovely note written inside. And Carol, this was really cool because she was the winner of, when I did a giveaway for 6,000 subscribers, she was the one who won the Modern Folk Embroidery Holiday Countdown chart from last year. So if you watched me during Flossmas last year, you saw me stitch that piece throughout the 25 days. And at the end, I gave away just recently I gave away the chart for that. So with that chart, Jacob had provided a freebie, and that was a Christmas tree chart. And Carol, upon receiving the holiday countdown chart from me as the giveaway, she decided she would stitch the Christmas tree for me. And she made it into this beautiful pillow. So look at this great pattern from Jacob. Is that not just so cute? With those birds underneath the tree. I really, really, really love this. And look at her stitching. Her stitching is absolutely fabulous. I looked through it. There's not a stitch out of place. It is so beautiful. She backed the pillow with this lovely Christmassy holly fabric here. And I'm just so excited to have this up and around for the holiday. And also excited that I get to enjoy this pattern because I didn't have time last Christmas to stitch this pattern. And so I sent it along with her, or to her, and I'm so happy that she stitched it for me. So Carol, thank you so much. This is absolutely beautiful. The next Stitchy kindness came from my friend Danielle, and Danielle was coming to New York City to visit and see some Broadway shows and just enjoy the city. And she reached out and asked if I would want to have dinner with her one night, which of course I wanted to. So we went to dinner, and she had asked me, her local needle workshop is Acorns and Threads, and she had asked me if there was anything that I would want her to bring from Acorns and Threads. The one thing I really wanted was this cute little acorn needle minder. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. It's so cute. It just says Acorns and Threads. It's just a little wooden needle minder, but I thought it was so cute, and so she brought me a copy of that, which I really love. And then I knew that Acorns and Threads typically carried a lot of Cedar River linen. So I had asked her to see if they had certain fabrics in different sizes just to see what my options were and that I would like to buy a piece of linen. And the one that I chose to buy was from Cedar River Linen. This is called Red Cedar. And here's what this one looks like. It is this beautiful, beautiful color. I had no idea what I would stitch on it, but just felt like I really wanted this. So I got this in a 36 count, and I really love it. It's a great neutral, but also adds that like pop of color. Now, I will tell you what I've been thinking about is ever since Jacob came out with the 2026 Sal for Modern Folk Embroidery called Little Acorns, I think I had a picture of it maybe last week, but I'll try to put another picture up here. I've been trying to decide, do I want to start that? Do I not want to start that? Would I like to do it? And if I did, what fabric and floss would I use? Well, when she brought this to me, I just thought, I think this is what I want to do Little Acorns with. This gives me kind of like a woodsy feel, and it's the right color of like a red cedar that I would like to use. So then I went through my stash, and a while ago I had bought a bunch of Silks for You to just try them out. Sorry for the crinkling. And basically I had bought this one. This is PR 149, I believe. But it's this really beautiful golden, like tan color. And when I put these two together, I thought this would just look absolutely beautiful for Little Acorns. So I've got this sort of kitted in the back of my mind that maybe I can use these to stitch the Little Acorns piece from Jacob. But again, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this was the fabric I chose to buy. Well, then Danielle, of course, being wonderful as she is, she couldn't let that just travel alone. So she gave me some gifts as well. And the gifts that she gave me were the other two fabrics that I had requested, but then decided not to purchase. She bought them for me anyway. This first one is called Spindrift from Cedar River, and this is also a 36 count. This is a beautiful neutral, like kind of white, but not too white. I don't know how well it's coming across in the camera today with the lighting, but just a beautiful neutral piece of fabric. Not a lot of modeling, but some beautiful coloring to it. Perfect for a sampler or, even a Christmas piece maybe. And the final one that she gave me was Coffee Stain from Cedar River Linen. This was in a 40 count. And here is Coffee Stain. Again, this is absolutely beautiful. I think Christmas pieces would look gorgeous on this, but just another really lovely piece of linen. So I'm excited to have 3 more additions to my fabric stash. And Danielle, thank you so much for those. That is very kind. Along with that, she also added in a couple Pirate and Robin floss, which I still have yet to use, but I've got a few things down the pipeline that I want to use these for. But this is Nightshade from Pirate and Robin. And then she got me Pine, again from Pirate and Robin. And then she got Long Live Evil. And to me, this looks like a combination of those two flosses. So I have the variegated from those two and then the individual color. So that I could definitely use for a fun project and figure out where those colors go in a certain project. So Danielle, thank you so much for all the kindness. That was absolutely lovely. And the only other thing I wanted to talk to you about today was a little bit of my Flossmas plans. So as you know, last Christmas, I decided to do Flossmas and create a video each day to sort of share my progress on a couple different things. And I had a lot of fun doing that. I hope you, for those of you who joined in and watched every day and kept up with it, I hope you enjoyed it as well. I think you did. And as I've been thinking about whether or not to do it again this year, I decided I think I am going to do that. I had such a great time filming those videos. It really got me into the holiday spirit, and I hope it helped and provided a little bit of peace and joy in your holiday season as well. So I'm going to do that again. So I thought today I would share with you a couple of the things that I'm thinking about for Flossmas. Now, if you remember from last year, one of the things I did was a small daily advent calendar that was cross stitch in a matchbox, I think it was called. And it was just like small, tiny designs that came one a day. And I do have another calendar like that I was gifted. And so I think I'll be doing that each day where you'll get to see another small motif. I still haven't figured out what to do with the motifs from last year, but now I will double that in size and be able to come up with something even better. So that will be part of the daily videos. And then last year I did the holiday countdown from Evertote and Roxy Flosco. This year I did not sign up for that, even though I loved it so much last year. It just was a little expensive for me this year, and especially now with everything going on, I'm sort of glad that I didn't. But the one advent that I loved watching last year was Karen, the Stitching Owl. She was stitching the advent calendar banner from Tiny Modernist, and it was similar to the holiday countdown where there was a different piece of the design released every single day. These are just a few hints of what was coming in the pattern, but as you can see, each day there was a different release throughout the whole piece. Now, this is a large piece, and as I look at this, I think this is bigger than the modern folk embroidery piece from last year. So I actually don't know how easy it will be for me to keep up with this, but I'm going to do my best and try. So I'm not going to show you the full design because I do want it to be a secret, but you can kind of get an idea from some of the motifs here of what that's going to look like. And so what I did was I pulled all the floss for it, which are these beautiful colors. Maybe not typical Christmas colors, but sort of a more light, almost pastel-y color for Christmas, but I love it. So I went through my stash and I found this piece of fabric, which I, again, have lost the tag for, so I don't have all the information, but it's this beautiful sort of like greenish, grayish, bluish piece, and it is opalescent, so I'm not sure how well the sparkles are coming through today. Clearly not very well, but there is a nice shine to this. There is a nice sparkle to it. And I thought that would be perfect for a Christmas piece. And when I held up all the floss to it, I think it could really work. This is a terrible floss toss, but I think it will really work. I think the white will pop on here, and I think the colors will look really good. So that is what I'm thinking for my daily piece that you guys will kind of see me stitch along with over the Flossmas season. And hopefully we'll figure out how to get this sort of sparkly to come through. So those are kind of two of my plans for Flossmas, the daily like mini advent calendar and then the piece from Tiny Modernist from last year. And then I realized I don't actually have that many other Christmas pieces to be working on. Of course I have Blitzen, and I will keep working on that throughout the Christmas season, but I went through my stash and pulled a few things that I thought maybe I could start this. One of them is Christmas Thoughts Sampler. This is from the Drawn Thread. And I got this from a Facebook destash group a couple months ago, but it's just this beautiful sort of like Christmas alphabet here from the Drawn Thread. And this was the full kit. So it has everything I need, the fabric, it's got all of the floss, which are different silks. And then it also has all of the beads and the buttons and charms there as well. So this could be a really fun one to stitch on. There's no way I will finish this whole piece, but I could definitely get a few motifs done, right? A few of those letters of the alphabet, and I just really like this one. So that might be one that I start and pull out in December. The other piece that I've got that I'm thinking about is a kit from Olanta. And Olanta is, I believe, a Ukrainian company, and I bought this a while ago off of a website that I'm not sure if you can still get it from, because I think with the tariffs, they've stopped shipping to the US now, which is unfortunate, but they had a lot of fun Ukrainian kits and just kits in general. But anyway, the one that I got was Mr. and Mrs. Claus. You can see that here. And here is what this looks like. I just thought this whole scene was so cute. I know there's so much backstitching in this piece, but I really think that will make it pop once you start stitching. And yeah, just so many fun things from this Christmas tree here in the corner. Of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus in the center, giving each other a cute little kiss, and then this bookshelf of all these toys and trinkets. That's super cute as well. So this is a full kit also. It comes with I believe that's Lugana. Yeah, I think it's a 32 count Lugana. So it comes with that, it comes with all the floss, and yeah, so this might be another start for me, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, to add to my Christmas collection. So those are the things I'm sort of thinking about for Flossmas. Let me know what you think about those projects, or if there's one that you'd really like to see me kind of start and work on. And yeah, I'm kind of excited as I kind of pull together some ideas to do Flossmas videos in December, but I hope you'll join me. Last year they were pretty short videos. I think they were anywhere between like maybe 8 and 15 minutes each day. So they were definitely shorter videos. And I think that's what I'll keep it to again this time. But it was really just nice to start each day off by sharing it with you, and typically have my coffee, and you know, it's a good time. So I hope you'll join me this year as well. And I think that's all I've got for you this week. So thank you so much again for all of your kind comments for last week. This is a hurdle that I will get over. You know, I will find a new job. I will find a new path. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. But thank you again for all of the kind words and all of the coffees that you bought. That was so kind, and I really appreciate it. This community is just amazing, and I continue to just be really grateful to be a part of it, and to think about what I can contribute to make this channel even more exciting and more of a community for all of you. So we'll see where that goes. But keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.